Hello everybody, welcome to another art journal tutorial on my YouTube channel. And today's art journal is all about using decoupage papers and element packs in my art journal. So this is my third page in art journal, and for those of you who are interested in watching the previous ones, I'll link the playlist below for you all. And also, as with all my videos, the products that I have used will also be linked in the description of the video. Now for this is the particular decoupage paper that I have planned to use it. It is like a vintage floral paper, which is something which I wanted for this particular layout. So what I'm doing is, this is an A4 decoupage paper which I have cut in half because my diary is A5, and then just to get more organic edges for my paper, what I'm doing is I'm tearing the paper. However, while tearing, I'm just wetting the paper from the corner so that it can be torn with the ease and you get that deckled edge kind of an effect. So that is exactly what I'm doing over here. So here decoupage papers are very easily available and you get very pretty designs, right? So why not use them in your art journal and scrapbook layouts? So that is what is this whole particular page is all about. So I wanted to rather concentrate on that script and that floral pattern of the decoupage paper. And that is why I'm breaking it in such a way that it will use that area itself. So now, since my paper is going to be slightly smaller than the art journal page, because I did not want to go with a very flat, crisp background, right? We created that deckled edge. So for that, my deckled edge will then show through the art journal behind, right? So for just to add some extra texture to it, what I have decided is to add black gesso in the corners and in the center. What that will do is it will give me a color contrast, and it is my way of trying out colored gesso as well. So as I had told you that this art journal is all about trying out different products and see how various combination works. So I definitely know that decoupage, if I stick it on a plain white paper or a brown color in the background, it is going to work. However, I wanted to see that will it work with that black contrast, and that is why I have added black gesso in the edges. And once it is completely dry, I will take some decoupage glue and I will stick my decoupage paper on top of the art journal. Okay, now I am not being super precise. If there are any wrinkles that has been added, that is only going to add texture at the end to my art journal, so it's completely fine. However, I am taking care that I can apply it as flat as possible. Now this is another way in which you can practice, because I know a lot of beginners who are in decoupage struggle with not getting wrinkles while applying their paper or napkin. So why not try first on this kind of diaries and set your hand on how to apply papers without wrinkles, and then you can probably move on to MDF and make a decoupage project. Now as I have told you, all the products that I have used, the decoupage glue, diary, papers, etc., everything will be linked below in the description of the video. So in case you are curious on what products I am using, as with all my videos, they'll be linked in the description. So once I stick the paper, I'm also adding decoupage glue at the top just to make sure that my paper is properly sealed and there are no edges where it's not properly sealed, because on top this is kind of my base pattern on which we will be doing a lot of inking, stenciling, etc. So that is why I'm just making sure. Now here on the left side there were a couple of bubbles that remained, because while applying, the surface was not flat, so it was kind of tricky for me to apply the paper, and a couple of bubbles remained. So what happened was I got a couple of wrinkles, but as I said, with art journal it's completely fine, because those wrinkles in the end will add all the more in vintage effect. So now don't stress about all those minor things, because at the end of the day it's just going to add texture to your project. So once the layer of decoupage is applied and it's dry, what I'll be doing is I'll be adding gesso on top of it. So now that we have a base ready, we'll start prepping our paper with gesso. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm using a combination of clear gesso and white gesso. Why I'm doing that is because wherever that girl's body is remaining, I don't want to use that. I just want the flower part. However, I also want to make the design seamless. I don't want to like cut the girl out from the design while applying the same on our page. So that is why what I'm doing is wherever that girl is there, I'm adding a heavy coat of white gesso so that the girl gets hidden, and then I am kind of blending it with clear gesso wherever there are flowers, so only flowers will show through. So this is another tip for you all, where you want certain areas of the paper to show through or the design to show through, then you can definitely play around with a combination of clear gesso and white gesso. And what that will do is it will give you an opaque background or a clear background depending on how you use it. This is the trick that I had also used in my last page, where I wanted to mask some stamping area which I had used in the background. So this is a good hack. Now that I'm happy of how gesso is applied, once it is dry, we will move on to the next part, which is creating layouts, adding textures, etc. So for this particular page, what I decided was to use element packs. So I wanted to try out how element packs will look instead of, doing stamping and things like that. So on this particular page, my challenge to myself was that I'm not going to use any stamps to add detailing or doodling, nothing. I'm going to use some cutouts to create the interest on my page. And that is why I have selected like a floral layout, because I have a couple of floral cutouts which I thought would go really well. So all these are element packs which I have already fussy cut out, and you could see that I keep them in a bag ready to go, and whenever I want them for a project, they are ready for me. So that is what I'm basically using to create the focal point for my project. And now I'm building the focal point again. So to find that black gesso that we have used in the background, I am adding some black strips of paper, and then of course, since we have a floral background, I'm adding floral elements on top of my paper. Again, the trick with this particular art journal is that of course you have to keep the layout flat, because this is a diary. It is not your typical mixed media canvas that you are making. So you cannot play with dimensions, rather you have to play with textures. And that is what is the challenge of art journaling all about, personally for me. And that is why I'm actually, while applying these things, I'm thinking of what are the different ways through which we can add interest to our art journal and textures to our art journal, but without adding a lot of bulk. So I have used one of the vintage photo from Prima, and the sentiments are from Tim Holt's sticker book. As with all my art journal projects, I always say that you don't have to use the exact stickers or exact sentiments. I am using those because they are easily sourced, and since I'm doing a lot of pages, it makes sense for me to invest in these kind of ready stickers and ready photos. However, if you are just starting and don't want to invest in it, rather invest in a good mixed media diary, paints, stencils, gesso, texture paste, and things like that. And you can definitely use things like magazine cutouts, etc. And you can of course write a code by hand and use it, or stamp the code. You can also do that. So now once I had added the girl, I still felt that the page was a bit flat. Now this honestly looks really pretty, so if that is your jam, go for it. However, again, my challenge was to add a lot of textures, right, to myself while doing this art journal without adding bulk. So I was just thinking, what else can I do? So what else I did was I first added a lot of splatters. So I have used liquid acrylics to add those splatters, because those once dry are permanent, and I have used the colors which are coordinating to the one which we have used on page, which is purples and pinks. So that is what I have used. And then I did some stenciling using clear texture paste, so we don't lose on the background that we have created. And then just to intensify that stenciled area, I'm adding some liquid watercolors by Craft Angles, again in the same colors, pink, black and blue, because pink, black and green, because that is the colors that we are going for this particular page. And that was it, you know, just by adding a little bit of stenciling and watercolor, you can see it added that added interest on the top of our page, and you know, it added that oomph factor. So you could have kept it flat, or you know, you could have taken this extra step and added some more stenciling and texture to your project. It completely depends on what you like. And I added one more coat because I felt that that area was looking a bit plain. So that completes my art journal for today. A very, I would say, pretty page, and which is not normally my style, and not any browns used in the page. So I hope you enjoyed today's tutorials and tricks in art journaling. I'll see you in my next tutorial. Till then, take care guys. Bye bye.